Harry, I know you're going to be hungry for this one. Av3k will take on Vengeur in our next matchup of the night. They've all been golden. They've all been enjoyable so far. We just had the close series with Xenoku. Now we're getting into one of our first big bangers. This should be a glorious game.
Certainly it will indeed. Both players extremely aggressive, extremely fast-paced, and we know that there's going to be absolute chaos across the server on all three maps. Vengeur, again, another player just like Xenoku in some ways, where he's made these little improvements throughout Stage 4 and has improved more and more. He's very similar to Razy in some ways, where both, I would say, Vengeur and Razy, even though they're quite new, I wouldn't say new, but like recent to the scene, they're like on the top of their game, but now it's just a matter of learning to adapt to players quicker and play more unorthodox a lot better and making sure it's a lot more natural to them. But Vengeur has shown signs of that. He's been a lot less unpredictable. He's changing his routes all the time, not making it so he does the same routine again and again. The only thing he can do is when he's at a big loss, he takes a few high risks, but then again, Vengeur definitely one of the best players we have in the EU region.
Man, Vengeur can be so enjoyable to watch, so damn good. He really is a gem of the game. Like, he is wonderful to witness. He's been going from strength to strength. In terms of the land placements, it was just getting better for him. He'd been climbing his ranks. It feels like he really has been transcending since his run back live on LAN in Poland. Since then, it feels like he's been on a constant up and up. Obviously, had to have the tragic battle, unfortunately, against his other Maestro Mandem teammate, where he bested Razy in Stage 4 as well during the bracket play to keep himself in the runnings. Actually had quite a deep bracket run once again. So now we're seeing these results, not only in officials, not only in the weeklies, but also when it matters most, when he's into tournament play. It's really, really good to see the development that's been coming out from him as a player. In terms of his opponent, though, you're fighting experience incarnate. Av3k, this man who's done everything there is to do, Harry.
Yeah, he's called a Polish Punisher for a reason, and this is one guy you cannot sleep on at all. He's been around for years and years, and it doesn't matter how good or bad he is or how on form or off form he is. Av3k is always one to at least be a massive nuisance and pain in the backside for any opponent in the Quake Pro League. But he's done a bit better this stage. Normally he does dance around the relegation kind of area, but always manages to stay alive. But he's definitely improved a bit more compared to what he used to. I love Av3k. He's been doing, you could say, being a lot more consistent compared to most of the matches he's been playing in. You can kind of see that he's been more on form compared to like the previous 3 stages where he doesn't take as many risks. He's always making sure he's on point. He's always been a little bit more calculated than what he normally is. So we've seen a lot of things from Av3k this stage.
No, Av3k's been fun to watch. It's been awesome to get a bit more insight coming out from him as well. He's another one that's been very active in telling a bit more about his story on some of the podcast content that's been coming out with a lot of the pros in the league, which has been really cool to get that added insight from Av3k as well. Obviously, being in that Polish region alongside Xenoku, we've seen them mingling quite a lot. In terms of the game at hand, though, for this big dog, right here, right now, he goes up against Vengeur. This is not going to be an easy fight for Av3k. Vengeur, I'd say, has to be the favourite coming into it, but we are seeing more and more signs of life again from Av3k. He's starting to look like he can contend up to that high bar that he set for himself many moons ago. In terms of the series at hand, we're starting it off with a corrupted keep, a bit of an unusual first map. It's not too often we get keep to starters, but that could be a bit of a banger. You remove the rail, we're going to see fists flying. Galena versus Doom to open. Then we go into Ruins of Sarnath, where it's Eisen versus Nyx. That actually could be quite a good one as well. Sarnath could be fun. And finally, Vale to shut us down. Vale's certainly been getting more time in the spotlight, Harry.
It definitely has compared to previous weeks. Blood Run has been banned by Vengeur, which I'm not surprised the amount of experience Av3k has on Blood Run. I think Vengeur wants to try and avoid it. I think it's more the case of he doesn't want to play cat and mouse if he loses the lead. At least if he creates an opportunity, he doesn't feel like he has to hunt them down consistently. It can be a bit annoying. Av3k banning Awoken. Vengeur's amazing in that map, I'm not surprised. But Corrupted Keep, we talked earlier on, like before we even spoke about these two players, but we're in for a real treat in terms of the amount of chaos and how messy some of these maps are going to be. And Corrupted Keep to start off with the Doom and Galena, it's going to be ridiculous. Hopefully Vengeur will keep tabs on any totems he can find to make sure there are none in any kind of predictable places. Ruins, Av3k has been very good on Ruins. Every single time he's played Kilson, he's just been remarkable. we're going to be assuming that, especially when you're trying to hold the heavy kind of areas, then at least that way he's got the turret to make himself at least solidify some of those items. And going for the last one, if it does go to 1-1, then again another treat with the BJ. Visor as well on Vale, which is quite interesting. We don't really see that too often.
No. Oh man, this actually could be quite a good little fight between these two. I feel like, again, we do have to reiterate really that Vengeur is certainly going to be a favourite, but I think with the veto we've been given, Av3k could certainly contend. This could be closer than initially it looks on paper. It's your 6th position fighting against 15th in terms of the standings. So obviously, in terms of how closely grouped we saw basically from 4th to 6th is, if Vengeur can come away with a full series win, Harry, he's going to be doing himself a massive favour, because you're in week 7, you have that opportunity to pretty much lock in. You're going to be able to stay in that top 10, and you might be able to climb and stay around that 5th to 4th position by the end of the season, which is great for his seeding going into the next bracket.
Against a player like Av3k, though, it's a big ask. Like, yeah, sure, fair enough. He may have lost more games than he's won, but normally it's a 2-1 series. He doesn't really, lay down for anyone or give someone
he hates giving away points.
He does. He just don't like it, Jack. It's just not really his cup of tea, in all fairness. But you know what? With these maps and how it's going to cycle across, I think it should be at least a 2-1 series. I'll be surprised if anything else even changes. But we'll have to see here, as Character Keep will be map number 1. And I'll kid you not, Jack, this is going to be a ridiculous way to start things off with map number 1, especially with how aggressive these two players are. And already, both of them are in each other's faces, as Vengeur is just trying to keep him at bay, waiting for him to come out on that LG side as heavy machine gun comes out. But so does the LG, as both players are so weak. Vengeur only on 37 HP, back up to 62. And we're going to see if he can at least catch Av3k off guard.
So already in. We're seeing the signs coming out. Unfortunately for Vengeur, he's just had to face check his way through a totem that was dropped as he comes out of the teleporter. He'll tank that one. Oof, response from Av3k, flying into action there as he looks to put up a bit of a power play against Vengeur early on towards the mega room. Takes him down with a shotty as he'll serve up a disgustingly good early frag into the game. And he's kicked this one wide open. Also back over towards the statue. He can lurk around. About 10 seconds till Mega's up. They could split the major items apiece. But instead, he's not down for that. He wants both. He wants to fight towards heavy. He's going to be able to win out on that encounter. He gets away scot-free. Vengeur doesn't reveal himself. He keeps himself shrouded for now so he can just stay alive for a little bit later. But Av3k, he's alert. His ears are perked up. He spots Vengeur on the pushback around, gets down the totem back behind statue once again. Now he's got both major items out of that first full rotation. He's sitting pretty in this, Harry. This has gone well so far.
Looking very good indeed. He's playing extremely fast, but now he's playing passive, just walking around to see if he can catch him off guard. But Av3k, the stack is ridiculous right now. Catches him off a little bit with the LG there. Does a small chunk of damage there. The HMG, 60 damage there. Nicely done. Great aim from Av3k. But still, you can see now, the active ability comes in for Vengeur just to try and get the Mega, not take as much damage. But it doesn't seem to be the case, as he's pretty much burned that Mega. As Av3k gets to heavy, definitely on the prowl, looking to see where Vengeur could be, but holds the top control, hanging around that nail room, and he's just backing away. He's just looking to see where Vengeur could be. He's changing his style a lot. He's either walking around to see if he can bay out some kind of sound cue for Vengeur, or he's just pushing in any way he can just to throw him off in any way, shape or form. But he's tried everything, and Vengeur's just not giving anything away. But one thing Av3k has done is given away his position from that tri-bolt. The LG comes in, Av3k gets to heavy, and Vengeur is going to have to back away for now, as he's going to try and wait and see where Av3k could be next.
He's manhandled him a little bit. This is a bit more decisive than I thought it would be coming out to the first few moments to keep. Av3k, he's playing so bold into these fights, and look at the movement as well. The good snap adjustment there on the tracing with the LG, that was wonderful to catch. And he's actually tagging him at every opportunity, even from quite a substantial distance. He's also getting the added benefit of just how annoying those totems can be. Vengeur's just been soaking up that 50-40 damage every single time he goes through a teleporter, just tanking it to the knees early on, and it's really starting to do some damage to his shins now. Peek back across, trapped in combat toward the nail room. Av3k barely peels ahead into that encounter towards the stairway, does best him. and sends Vengeur down to the Nether Realm once again. Predictive rocket round the corner as he looks to try and land that. Can't quite connect it, but he gets away with a big stack and a big feeling that he can actually go for the fight here towards the heavy. Difference is though, Harry, he was caught, knocked off his feet by the rockets, bombarded towards the lava, and basically just trapped, held back by a barge pole there from Vengeur. And this has really thrown a spanner into the works.
It definitely has, as Av3k placed that totem, assuming he's going to take a lot more damage than he did, but he actually didn't. And then because the totem was in the lava, the totem gets pretty much deleted, as now Av3k's still waiting to see what Vengeur's next move is. Taking a little bit more damage, but it's going to push him for the heavy anyway, but it looks like he could be taken down. Should probably throw a totem here, but it doesn't matter as he continues after LG. Great stuff there from Av3k, increasing his lead, and now knows where Vengeur is again. Is going to take another fight if possible, but looks like Vengeur backing away, waiting to see where Av3k's going to go next. Waits for Vengeur to come through and gets the Mega, and now has to back off once more.
Av3k cultivating himself into a fairly good position. He's growing these frags in the back garden. Homegrown dominance is coming out here. Pushes in for a little bit more, though, as he wants to try and further that. Hanging on a thread there. Barely. And I mean barely does Vengeur walk away from that one as the victor. His stack was so low, he was broken, his armor shattered in a few different locations, but he's still fighting true, sticking to his guns and sticking to the rocket in the top level play as he shoots off these rambunctious rockets to try and at least slow down Vengeur on the readjustment. Comes around the corner with the LG. Barely could see a bobble of his head. Could hardly see the pixels there, but he was still fighting through. Takes him down. And Vengeur begins to close the gap. Now it's a lot closer. You've got one frag difference between the both of you. He's actually set on course to try and close it down right here. Difference is he takes off way more damage than he was initially expecting from that. Has to back off. Uses the rocket to do damage onto Av3k on the escape. He'll get the Mega. And Av3k, he can live the high life with this now. He's in a good position.
Certainly can, as Vengeur lets him have the heavy for free. He was way too weak to even try and challenge it if he can, but has taken down two of Av3k's totems just to be a tiny bit of a nuisance here, as Vengeur's just waiting and wondering what Av3k could be doing next, as he's going to be picking up for the Mega, and because the items are so separated, he should be able to contest the heavy too, but that's what Vengeur's waiting for. He's hoping to get the advantage of farming those rockets, get a good chunk of damage done, but it looks like it doesn't matter as he goes through it anyway, gets away, and because he's only got a slightly lower stack, he still should be able to contest that Mega as he takes down another totem of Av3k's, but Av3k still waiting down there at the moment. He really wants to try and grab this or contest it if he can, both on the similar stack, but then again Av3k's the one with the better LG aim and comes out on top, increases his lead 4-2.
Nearly at the 7-minute mark here. Drop back down, picking up the heavy, giving himself some more firepower to play with. Ooh, shots coming across. Nice early tags there. Will at least create distance between the both of them. Hearing that worrying click, though, as he realizes he's out of reserve rockets, instead has to go in for the full frontal assault with the shotty. Slams him on the side. Drive by. Good night as he serves it up. That was a clean bit of punishment. And a nice spot to put them in. There's Av3k now. 5-2. He's dominating here, Harry. I don't think this is really the result we expected to come out between the two of them. We thought it'd be a close, fairly tight affair. As Av3k, he doesn't like to give up games for free. But right now, he's the one dominating. He's the one just ripping his way through Vengeur, leaving him looking eternally doomed into every single firefight he gets himself in. And he's winning out on the major items as well. He's just walking away whatever he wants.
Even though, even the damage, 2,900 to 2,950 pretty much. It's so close between both of these players, but it's the item control of Av3k which is winning in these games. 11 heavies, 10 megas. Vengeur, 3 heavies, 5 megas. The item control from Av3k has just been phenomenal. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of dual experience. With Av3k, he's been doing this for years and years. So, okay, fair enough, he may not get the damage done, but with the item control, it kind of makes up for it. And it seems like it really is. And Vengeur is only 4 frags behind. He can do this with 1 minute and 40 left on the clock, but if he wants to do something, he needs to do it now. But I don't know if it's going to be the opportunity. He's only on 38 HP for Av3k. But as I say that, Vengeur jumped up, of course with the Doom, with the double jump, and manages to clean things up. But Jack, this is the opportunity Vengeur needs. He can't mess around here. 1 minute and 25 left. If he gets his next frag, or at least does enough damage to take the refight after, or double back, then he should be okay here. We'll have to see.
Ooh, comes around the corner with the LG out, ready to throw in the high voltage danger. But for Vengeur, he's got to back off. He's only got 60 seconds left to try and overcome here, though. And the roadblock of Av3k seems too hard. He can't go around it. He can't go under it. Harry's going to have to go right through it.
Certainly will indeed. Vengeur is on the chase, and Av3k is getting far away as possible. He needs to try and play completely non-standard if he can. Hiding in a particular spot. Luckily for him, the damage wasn't done, but he moves anyway just in case, as Vengeur's still trying to chase him down. It could be too little too late, even if he gets this frag, but he desperately needs it. The rocket comes in. Only 2 more frags left remaining. 25 seconds. Vengeur, you need to push in now if you can and try and make something happen, which he has done. He might have a rough idea where he is. He finds out his location, takes down the totem as well. He's still on the hunt. 14 seconds left, but Av3k finishes him off here, Jack. And I think that's pretty much said and done for map number 1, as Av3k gets the heavy, gets the map control he's so desperately desired, cleans up 8-4, and now's a great way to start off this match, especially with map number 1.
That's a brilliant start to the series. That's a really good way for Av3k to come out here, prove his worth. You know, you've really hindered Vengeur in terms of the picks that have come out, right? You've got him on Corrupted Keep. It's a map that he is good on, but you take a lot of assets away from him. You remove the rail. You remove him being able to play so bold and audacious and completely tear you apart from a distance. You restrict that and instead force those more, aggressive up-close battles. And Av3k was just excelling there. He wasn't missing a beat when it came to the LG. He was hitting his rockets. He was doing a lot of good groundwork to actually open up those frags and then fully capitalize on them. Just playing around the major items perfectly as well. It was smart. Like, the decision-making from Av3k there on that first map was really nice to see. And that's good, because it means we're going to get a close series out of this one, rather than it being sort of a Vengeur just wash over.
It's the speed of the styles he would switch from as well. Like, at first he was chasing him everywhere, or at least trying to purposely give away some kind of audio cues to force Vengeur to act. Or there was times where he would just purposely walk in certain corners, and then Vengeur was like, well, I've not heard him for a while. Surely he's walking around me. And then force or even bait out Vengeur to even make the first move or to try and get away. So, and then at some stage halfway through the game, Vengeur was a little bit confused as to whether should he either start running or trying to get away because he could be nearby, or should he just continue walking and maybe walking to the first hit. It was quite confusing for him. But what I will say is the fact that Vengeur did a very good job at least getting so much damage done to Av3k, even though Vengeur was the one with a lack of item control. The amount of items Av3k had was just ridiculous, and he just made sure he abused it at all costs. So it was a shame for Vengeur here, but it's a completely different map this time around. So I have to see what Av3k can do and see if he's got an opportunity to try and take the series now.
Yeah, if he can actually go on, double down, get 2 maps out of it, right? Because that would be a huge result already. So we are going into Ruins as the second map in the series. Av3k now moves on to an Eisen pick. So he's got Timothy, the troublesome turret, with him. And then on the other side of things, you've got Nyx there for Vengeur. He's a good Nyx. He is a very effective Nyx player. We've seen him rocking with that champion many, many times. He knows how to play it to the best of his ability. Ruins as a map, though, after what we've seen in the first map, I'm not going to count Vengeur out. I feel like this is pretty much going to be more of the same. It's going to be a very close game. It will come down to the wire once again. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually what we're going to get given throughout the whole series here, because it feels like Av3k's playing some quality Quake, and Vengeur not quite hitting that true level 10 that we expect from him. Maybe he's around about a 7, so he needs to get himself in here, Harry. Wake up soon.
He certainly has to. I'm pretty sure that if it went for the item control and at least try to contest it a little bit better, it could have been a completely different story. But this time around, Av3k's got more room to breathe, and this is his map pick. So surely he knows that this is opportunity to try and take the series, but already he's going to be trying to push in as much as he can. As Vengeur tries to get away, but the gauntlet comes out, and sadly just wasn't to be, as Av3k is the one with the first frag. He's going to try and get a second if he can. It's so close to it, 16 HP, but he's still available. Decides to prioritize the Mega, completely understandable. Going to try and push in, but Vengeur, with the rail himself, decides, but he's got other ideas. But at least Av3k's got the heavy. It can maybe make something happen here over the course of the next minute.
I like that. That was a nice way of getting yourself into the game. The snapshot with the rail was big. Unfortunately, he's missing the ones that matter most, and he is very low. He went in with the aggressive Ghost Walk, and I'm surprised he's still alive. Eventually, he will go down as Av3k busts out the shovel in the form of the HMG and digs him a grave. Takes him down. 2 frags to 0 so far, as he's been starting it off very nicely here on Ruins. He's come out, charging into battle, and playing with that confidence off the back of keep. And that's what you need. You have to try and keep that up. You can't let the tempo dip off going into the second map in the series. And Av3k showing that it's maintainable at the minute. For Vengeur, he's just going to have to go off on a quest to rebuild himself, just scavenge up those lights and get some stack back up. Obviously, playing on that light champion, he's so susceptible to being penalized straight off the spawn, Harry. So he has to be careful with the battles he chooses. Right now, though, he is trying to at least keep himself alive. Goes for the Ghost Walk escape play, close with the rockets, playing on the tight angle. He was able to get one out, but then had to bail. He was just far too low in stack.
Av3k now looking really good at this point. Massively stacked, already been 2 minutes, got 2 frags to his name. But as I say that, Vengeur looking to see if he can do additional chip damage after that first rail, but he's going to try and beak if he could. He's got one more rail, but good job trying to contest the Mega, but it just wasn't enough, as now Av3k's actually only on 89 HP. So Vengeur's done a huge chunk of damage here, as Av3k managed to get away with his life. He's got to try and prioritize these light armors. He knows that getting the heavy is going to be extremely difficult for him. Lets Vengeur have it uncontested. Misses the first rail, needs to try and get the second. Vengeur knew that he was going to go for that second line. But as this one comes in, that's 2 in a row. Will Av3k make it 3? Yes, he does. It's on just a sliver of health here. One rocket should do it, and it will. Beautiful stuff there from Av3k during that last few moments. But again, he hasn't stopped here. 1 rail, another shotgun. 4-0 here, Jack.
Mate, if you thought the Corrupted Keep was the end point of the hype that was coming out from Av3k, you got another thing coming. As right now, he is just decimating. He's not even going to give Vengeur time to let forts process. Instead, he's just going to put bullets through where his forts do process, as he's been obliterating him into every single encounter. He's 4-0 already. And we're only on the cusp of this game. Vengeur, this man's on the cusp of his life. Just teetering on the barrier between this realm and the next. Eventually, he gets sent flying through it, as Av3k is truly living up to the hype. He is the Polish Punisher, and right now, he's serving up gunishment, Harry.
So many players in these last few matches of the Pro League have just been absolutely on it in terms of their aim, their form. And it just seems to be one person every time. Av3k now is the one. He's taken a turn at knowing that, you know, the confidence is flowing through him, the gun skill, the aim, everything is just ridiculous. And Vengeur's a little bit clueless at this point, which is a bit unsurprising. He's doing everything he wants to with the chip damage, but it just isn't enough. But Ruins is definitely a map where the possibility can come in terms of making a comeback. But Vengeur's got to be careful here. He's taken all the tri-bolt damage from Av3k. Av3k now in favour 8-1, gets to heavy as well, just making matters worse for Vengeur. But it looks like he is going to push in slightly to see if he can... Oh, he just gets another. He's going to try and push in to finish the job off, but the Ghost Walk comes in. Will he find him? He decides to maybe prioritise the Mega, but also gets the frag at the exact same time. It's already 9-1, Jack. Already only 4.5 minutes into this second map.
Harry, this is just domination. And right now he's pulling out all the stops as well. Oh, it feels like he's just playing insta-gib. He's rolling with the punches, and he is just serving up absolute excellence time after time. Av3k on this rail. Name a more iconic combo, because the way he's playing around the rail is just impeccable. He's hitting every single shot. He's decimating Vengeur's stack. He's leaving him on the edge of his life every single time. Just cranking 90s all over the place. He charges him with the rocket as well, and he keeps on moving off the back of the bounce. Fires out the warning tri-bolt just in case Vengeur pushed up, so he would be able to obliterate him, but they miss for now. And finally, Vengeur's actually been able to avoid him for a couple of seconds, so it does slow down this huge growth that Av3k's getting, because this was spiraling out of control. He's already 9 frags ahead. We've only just hit the halfway point. He won the first map in the series, and with the way this is going, it's looking like he's coming in hot for a second here. That would be a series win over Vengeur. That's a ridiculous feat in week 7.
Even the score now, 10-1's a statement. Surely Vengeur will finish him off here. Yes, he will. It's 10-2. But even though Ruins is one of the bigger maps in the map pool, it's actually quite easy to make a comeback with the spawn cycle, especially if you're spawning next to the light armor or on the other side too. So it depends on exactly where he kills him and what he does next. But the thing is that Av3k's already making the right play. The amount of times he's played Kilson, he knows when to stabilize the scoreline and just be a bit more careful on exactly what he wants to do and where he wants to go and what his plan of action is. And Av3k's plan of action is just basically contest the items and play defensively when necessary. Yeah, sure, fair enough. Vengeur's got the 3rd frag. He will have the item control. But Av3k just needs to be a bit cautious on what he wants to do around the map. Not get himself pinned at the top light armor area, or maybe contesting one of the items and just get himself in a little bit of a pickle. But at this moment in time, Av3k's aim is so good and it's so on form that Vengeur, Vengeur's the one who's meant to be on form with the accuracy and being in the zone. But Av3k just seems to be saying otherwise. But like I said, the comeback is still on. It was 10-1, now it's 10-4, and he's still got a bit more time to play with.
Oh, don't ever count Vengeur out. He's not the sort of player that you can look at and go, yeah, he's down 10 frags, it's never going to happen, because he starts to do stuff like this. Finally a miss, showing that he is still human. As he chases towards the stairs, it's a horrible game of tag that won't end well if you get caught. How is he still alive? And that's actually ended in a stalemate. He's forced to fall back. He's got to go towards the heavy to give himself some kind of life, some kind of benefit, as he has no sustenance left. He's been broken. He was down to like 20 stack, but he's finally got into a position to respond once again. He does capitalize off the back of that early encounter. Av3k was still low. He didn't have the blessing of being able to get a major item to build himself back into the round, so he's falling apart because of it. Has to go through the teleporter, or knows that punishment will just round the corner, but it's still going to arrive. It's inevitable. And at this point, Vengeur is showing that if there is still time on that clock and his heart is still beating in his chest, he will bridge the gap. He will bring it back. And right now he is, Harry, and he's going above and beyond. He wants to close it. He wants to take it 10-10 and put it in that sudden death position. And he just hasn't stopped. It's been 2 minutes of carnage from Vengeur. This man is giving us glory after glory. Everything he's doing right now is perfect.
I said it earlier, Jack, when it was 10-1, but do not count Vengeur out. Not only because of his skill, but the map itself. If you spawn at the light area, there's only 2 places you can go, down to LG and Rail or to the Tri-Bolt. But it seems like both his players do stand still a little bit on spawn and wait to see if their opponent does back away or shoot a bit of damage across the map. But it seems like Vengeur's in a great position. He cannot slow down. He needs to give Av3k absolute carnage here, and he has done, like you mentioned, over the last couple of minutes. But the Ghost Walk comes in. He should be able to get behind him, as Av3k got a feeling he might have done. But look at the amount of damage he took from the LG, as now Vengeur's going to prioritise. He's got to keep up with the hourglasses as well. He needs to make sure he has that Ghost Walk in his favour, just to be a bit of a nuisance and keeping Av3k guessing at all times. As now the Mega's come up in the next 10 seconds, but Av3k's rails are looking very good, just chipping away at the stack of Vengeur. But look at this now. Oh, he's going straight in. That was a beautiful rocket, but it's just not enough as Av3k manages to take him down. But Av3k cannot let go of the gas. He cannot let any laziness come in. He's just keeping him at bay, making sure that Vengeur can't get any weapons in his arsenal. He does get the LG, but does deny the rail for a little bit of time here.
Oh, man. And the issue is now, time's gone. Time's up. Vengeur, he had his spree where he was just popping off and giving us raw lunacy. It's crazy. From the position of Av3k looking like he was unbeatable in the series, Vengeur made him look human. But Av3k, he's got his second wind. He's got back up. And now he is running, sprinting towards the finish line. And he's got Vengeur hanging on to life by a thread. It's 12-8. Time is up. We're going to hit the 10-minute mark, and Av3k will win the series. That is a brilliant display of not only how to dominate on Ruins, as Eisen there from Av3k, but also how to keep yourself in it to win it, how to come back into the game. Vengeur proving that Maestro mantra, Harry. You might be down, but you're never out.
Not at all. It's like I mentioned earlier, again, with Ruins, it may be going to bigger maps in the back pool, but with the spawn system and spawn cycle, there's always a way to catch guard of your opponents, and it can be quite predictable on where your opponents are going to be. But look at the damage, 3,709 to 3,728. Both these players have been so close, tit for tat, and exactly how much damage both of them are doing. But that was, again, even better from what we saw in the previous map. For Av3k, I was like, okay, it's his map pick, but I'm worried that there could be a stage where Vengeur could get too carried away. But no, it wasn't. Like, Vengeur did get carried away making a comeback, but Av3k put his foot down. He was like, no, I'm not going to let you, walk circles around me. He's doing a lot of chip damage with the rail, any possible chance he could. Was actually still contesting some of the items, even if he was at a disadvantage. But that's the problem with that spawn, that when you're at the pillars on next to the light armor, there's only two places you're going to go. Either you're going to, actually, you could say three. Give a standstill for like 5-10 seconds to make them think they spawned otherwise, which is quite unlikely. Give a go to the tri-bolt, then try and go for the rockets and contest the mega, or you can drop straight down the stairs and then go for the rail and LG. But the rail and LG option is very predictable, and sometimes even standing still, like you saw just then, was predictable, and you just took a huge chunk of damage. It's a very difficult spawn to get away from. It's definitely a real pain. A lot of players probably will say that too, but Vengeur managed to get out of it after a while, as both players were back and forth spawn trapping each other, putting so much pressure. But that was a classic game of Ruins. I've enjoyed that more than anything. No,
that was big. In terms of just like a match, that's one of those games that I'd say if you want to see some really enjoyable Quake, you want to just really jump into it and throw a VOD on and enjoy it the whole way through. That's the sort of matchup you want. It had some close twists and turns. It kept you guessing the whole way through. We saw domination from Av3k, and then we saw the response from Vengeur. And that's what he does best. When he's on the back foot and he needs to fight his way through, so good. So good to watch. He just understands how to play the game and thrive in the chaos perfectly. He's always just thinking a couple of steps ahead. Unfortunately for him, though, he's not going to be a few steps ahead in this series. He's already lost 2 maps, meaning that this is now the opportunity for him to deny points against Av3k, or for Av3k to get a full sweep, the full 3-0, Harry, which could be pretty huge for him. He's in 15th place. This is a chance to pretty much guarantee that you're not going to slip back down towards relegation, and that he'll at least be sitting pretty down in the top 15 in a position where he can at least stay happily in the league.
Even then with Av3k too, it's like, I think he's 8th currently just in the EU region alone, so he's already got a huge chunk of points. With that third map, that's just going to be another story. I'm just really sad that it's already on map number 3. This match is completely flown by, and it's just been absolutely remarkable seeing these two titans just tit for tat, just nail one on the head, literally just going absolutely in on each other here, as we are going to start off with Vengeur once more. It is on Bale, and I'm sure it's going to be quite similar to what we saw in Corrupted Keep, depending on the circumstances of both of these players with the weapons in their arsenal and what items they've picked up. But it looks like Vengeur playing it a little bit slow, but Av3k a bit slower here as he's trying to walk and try and take him by surprise, which he has done. The dual wall comes in, so does the LG, and Av3k gets the first frag on the board.
Av3k straight out the gate, the Polish Punisher himself, trying to fly the flag high, and comes out swinging from the get-go. Devastating there against Vengeur. It's a good way to open up the game, and he's going to play off the back a bit as well. Vengeur actually being chased down, firing those near misses on the rockets, almost actually landing it through onto the railings. Would have been a hard shot to hit, but now he's still landing damage. He is doing fairly effective on the little jiggle, peeks round through the doorway at the minute as he's firing off with the tri-bolt, uses the piercing sight. Right now, it's just got to be desperation for him, surely, as he knows if he tries to get away, he's probably going to fall. Instead, just opts to take the full-on attack. Oh, he nearly got it as well. The tri-bolt spam around the corner. Av3k was on like 30 stack, but he commits to holding his ground, gets the shot off. That's the second kill. You've got to give him respect there. There wasn't really much of a play he could have made outside of going for the confidence ball. Ooh, but this is never a good position to be in. A BJ dual wielding, when the akimbo comes out, you better just run.
And saying that, he ran, but then ran straight into him afterwards with the LG. As Av3k now is just looking incredible. It's absolute filth, some of the things I've seen him do throughout the entire course of the series. The shotgun comes out, backs away, gets to heavy, takes a big chunk of damage from it, but at least he manages to burn it. But look at Vengeur's HP at the moment. He is currently on 53 now, and probably was on about 3 earlier on. But it doesn't matter, as Av3k has got the mega, knows surely that Vengeur could be hanging around that rail room, but decides to back away for the time being. Vengeur's just... it's a bit strange at seeing Vengeur I wouldn't say clueless, because he is playing really well and he is playing out of his mind on a lot of his occasions, but is questioning some of the plays he makes in terms of, like, should he go here, should he go there? Like, you know, he's trying to be extra careful on what motive he wants to do. But the duel comes out again for Av3k as he's trying to get as much damage done whilst Vengeur's up there top mid. The rail comes in, needs to try and get one more to clean things up. He's so desperately trying to do it. The rocket comes through and he's still waiting to see what he wants to do. Misses such an important rail. 59 HP, needs to back away. But Vengeur's looking for him a little bit here.
Oh man, this game is already giving us some really close deciding plays. Some of the fights we've had here have kind of been the telltale sign of the entire series. Although the scoreline might show that they've been close, the gameplay itself has been wildly close. We're seeing small margins for error, and right now, a small margin may be all Av3k has to keep him alive, but it's not going to be the case. He tried to run away, but he was hit by the fadeaway, the three-pointer from Vengeur, as the man slam dunks down upon him, and is now in a position to try and bridge the gap. It's only one frag that stands between both of them, and he is on the hunt. 2 seconds till Heavy comes up. He wants to lurk around, but he gets the rocket off. In the meantime, comes round the corner with a peekaboo peek, as he will slam that rail onto him and punish Av3k. That is beautiful.
My word, this is a absolutely ridiculous series from start to finish. Map number 3, Vengeur. Wasn't looking too good off the get-go, but now looking much better, a lot more comfortable. The door's still open on the Rocket side. The Rockets are coming in. No damage done as of yet, but he should be able to take him down here. No, he doesn't, as Av3k, the nail gun, finishes him off. Gets to Heavy, was looking for that rail spawn, but has realised he's up top, picks up the light. But look at this, though, just waiting for him. What a direct rocket and the rail combo. Av3k's just disgusting at this moment in time.
Dude, it's actually ridiculous. Like, it is really cool to watch, because it's not really the result that we have been getting, right? Normally when these two match up, we see Vengeur just, you know, giving it the old shake, just being able to do damage, come out looking dominant, really like the champion that he is. Whereas right now, Av3k, he's rolled back the years. He's having a field day with some of the shots he's pulling out. That one, not so much, but we'll write that one off for now, as he is still in the lead, 4-3. He does still tower over Vengeur, at least for the time being. Piercing Sight's just been used as well. Both of them are in the downtime when it comes to their active abilities. There's no dual wield available for the next 29, and Vengeur doesn't have access to his Piercing Sights. He lurks around the corner, looking to try and go for the play, but we've already seen Av3k. He's gone for the option of dashing out through the window, going through the teleporter, and repositioning, and it's worked out perfectly. It means he cuts Vengeur off on the rotation, hits him with the rail, near miss on the shots as well, as the rockets are whizzing by him, barely missing. He does get into a good angle to play with. 5 minutes on the clock. Av3k still leads. Vengeur trailing behind. Needs to cut him off.
He probably could do, especially with that rocket and the rail to boot. Vengeur's just holding top mid. Just hanging around that tribal area to see what his next plan of action is, as Vengeur gets out the Piercing Sight, realises that, oh, that was beautiful. Av3k had a feeling that Vengeur was waiting for him on the Mega to rocket him down, but it seems to be that he decided to back away, and that's all the dual experience you ever need. But he backs down as the Mega went up. Vengeur's going to be kicking himself a little bit, but I don't think he could have done too much there anyway. But the mind games from both of these players is just remarkable here. Both of them just outplaying each other. There's so much thought going into both these players' mindsets here, and it's going to try and finish him off the LG if he can, but Vengeur's just trying to do his best to get away. But Av3k extends his lead 5-3, still 4 minutes left, and I feel like it's going to be an hour for Av3k, considering what he's got to do to try and just keep Vengeur away. As the rockets come in, gets the Mega, gets the light, got the top mid control, and Vengeur's already pushing straight in, misses the first rail, and finally it's going to stabilize just a little bit.
It's all about the hunt right now for Vengeur. You know, he's the jaguar that's stalking his prey, trying to wait for the right opportunity to try and pounce. But Av3k, he's a very adept hunter, Harry. It's not the first time he's had to skin a live animal, as we've seen how effective he can be into this matchup. He will go down, though. No opportunity to punish the hunter this time, as he will fall, overthrown by the big claws from Vengeur, cuts his way through him, also gets the Mega health. So he's got major item control to start to lock down once again. He's also just playing with the timing. Gets behind Av3k, dropping down onto him like the selfie superstar that he is, cuts his way through him once more. Now the scoreline's tied. Av3k, this time there's mistakes being made. He's giving these small glimpses for Vengeur, and he's playing off the back of him every single time. He's pushing in, knows that if he takes him down here, he can at least get himself back into a dominant position. That's lovely. Good execution, good composure, and a lot of confidence.
Av3k still needs to restack, but as I say that, he's got the Mega, so no need anymore. As Vengeur's still trying to trap him at this point in time. Quite a risky play there, considering Av3k was in the narrow corridors, but he's going to push him anyway. Av3k gets the heavy. My heart is going here, Jack, for both of these players. It's not giving us room to breathe at this point. And again, Vengeur's dropped down. Av3k's managed just to clean up finally. That was a bout and a half, but it's going to be on spawn for the rail. Did a huge chunk of damage there, and Av3k's just going to try and restabilize with the stack. Vengeur with the rail. One more could do it, but it's going to try and back away anyway, as, sorry, he wasn't actually available at the time, but he was very close. Picks up the Mega, goes top mid, hides on the top tri-bolt, knows that heavy's coming up. It's going to try and see where Vengeur is, but the first rail does come in for Vengeur. Av3k has the stack. Going to fire a few rockets here and there, but Vengeur doesn't want to give his position away too much, as he definitely needs to try and catch him off guard at somehow, some way, at some stage. As there's only a minute 45 left remaining. He comes through the portal. Duel comes out. A little bit of LG damage there, but the rockets are looking beautiful for Vengeur as the rail follows to boot. Now only one frag difference between these two players, and the rail comes in as well, Jack.
We know what they say, Harry. When the Av3k's away, the Vengeur will play. Right now, he's not playing around. He's gone full business mode. And there he is, just slaughtering his way through the first, bringing the pain onto Av3k, and keeps on serving up sublime rails as well, chasing him down with the LG. He's done the unthinkable. He tried to do this on Ruins. He tried to bridge the gap and get himself an advantage, but he couldn't quite do it. This time around, it's different. He's able to close it. He gets the lead now, 8-7, but he's still fighting. He's not content with just a 1-frag lead, and I doubt he'll be content with just a 2-frag lead. 60 seconds, the tables have turned. Av3k's the one that has to aggress. It's all up to him now to open this game back up. He's got to crack it open like a chestnut, and I don't know if he's going to be able to. Because first things first, you've got to catch Vengeur. And he's just running. He's creating space between the both of you. You have no way of getting in front of him. He's playing off the audio. He's playing from the sound cues, and he's just waiting, lurking beneath Av3k at every given moment. Av3k can't catch him, Harry. He doesn't know where he is. He can't spot him out, and time is ticking away. He hits that first rail. You need to get a follow-up. If he could find the kill now, it would be close, but there might be a possibility. Issue is, now that possibility is washing down the drain, as the game has surely got to go the way of Vengeur. It's not doable. It's going to be a 9-7. No, it'll be a 9-8, but that's it. It's all she wrote. It's over for Av3k. He won't take the series, but he does take 2 maps. Can't get the full 3, but he still gets a ton of points and the bragging rights from besting Vengeur there.
That was ridiculous. Vengeur just manages to close out the final map 9-8, but that doesn't say anything about the series score, as Av3k takes the series 2-1. Again, Av3k with the item control, always in every single map, and Vengeur has to do so much more damage in comparison. Is a little bit better from the item control from Vengeur, but Av3k just always was in a position and prepared to make sure he would get it before him. But that was a ridiculous game. I don't remember last time I enjoyed a series like that. It's been definitely a fair few weeks.
That was good. It was really nice to watch. I think it was also cool because obviously we got to see a little bit of old school Av3k coming out. Now, I know normally we do hype up Vengeur quite a lot, and we all always normally excited to see his games because he as an individual is a very aggressive, very flashy style of player, right? Like he brings you the highlight frags. Whereas here, he was truly tested, and it actually seemed like Av3k was, you know, the star of the show, Harry. For me, he stole away everything. He had the really big plays. He had the show-stopping moments. It was just vintage Av3k coming out.
It was just ridiculous. You couldn't have made some of that stuff up there. It was just absolute madness. And the spawn trapping and the flanks to rotations, it's very hard to take apart that map. You have to definitely watch that back to see exactly what both these players are up to. But it was just, you know, a fight for aggression, a fight for nutrition in terms of the items and the actual weapons in your arsenal, because there's a lot of times where, you know, you saw with the piercing sight, Vengeur was like, okay, I'm at Mega, he's probably going to go for rockets and come to the telly. But you saw from the dual experience that Av3k has, he knows these predictions are going to be made. Both these players are always 2 steps ahead and just trying to get it better of each other. And it's remarkable to see, really. It's incredible because the mind games of both those players was just ridiculous. The height advantage, everything they're trying to do in terms of holding certain angles, just not giving each other any kind of room to breathe. And it was just a joy to watch.
It truly was. It was a great series there. That was really enjoyable. I actually also wonder what the potential result could have been if we didn't have Keep, right? Because the rail was a ginormous asset. It was incredible to watch some of the rail shots that were coming out. So maybe if Keep went in the mix, it could have been a different series. But that's the way it's going to go. We do see the lockdown coming through from the endpoint man. Besting out Maestro this time around as Vengeur only gets one map out of the 3 that were available. More action to come tonight, though. When we return, we'll be going back into North America and carrying on when we get into Genic versus Dehang. That should actually be quite a fun one. Join us as we see the Hulk man himself in Dehang take on Genic after break.